there, everybody. Welcome to Beer with the Boss, that podcast where a guy and his boss have a beer, talk about technology and whatever is trending out there. I'm Rodrigo Matos, and I work at Webera.
And I'm Joe Zamboni. I'm co-host and founder of Webera. I'm here today to introduce you to Alessandro Rocha, who is going to talk to us about how the challenge of managing a remote work team. Alessandro, what are you drinking today? Please introduce yourself and tell us what you drink.
My name is Alessandro Rocha. I'm from Brazil. I live in Miami, Florida. I work for Visa. I've been there for 7 years, managing a Latin American team spread across the region in 6 different countries. And today I'm here drinking La Rubia. La Rubia is a blonde ale produced here in Miami.
Thank you for joining us today. And I didn't ask, but I'm drinking Lagunitas.
California,
yeah. Yeah, I bought this one because Rodrigo drank one other day from Brazil, but was from California too. How about you, Rodrigo? What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking a Coruja. This beer is originally brewed in Porto Alegre, my hometown. Not my hometown, but where I lived most of my life. It's like an extra lager, 6.5%. So it's a little bit, it's a stronger lager. Well, Alessandro, thank you so much for joining us today. It will be great hearing a little bit from you from the challenges of managing a remote team remotely, like managing a team remotely, especially a team as I guess the region you manage is probably very heterogeneous as well, right? Probably people from different backgrounds. So I want to start with the question for you. What are, in your opinion, the biggest challenges of managing a team remotely, especially an heterogeneous team?
I normally say that I would say that I have three main challenges. Number one is that people, they have different needs and different levels of dependency. The second thing, their cultures, they have different cultures. And number three is how do we having a team spread across a big region such as Latin America? How do we onboard and integrate new team members and make them feel as part of the team? I think those are the three biggest challenges.
That's great. Do you have any examples of one of these challenges and how you overcome them?
Normally, for the two first, for dealing with people with different needs, different cultures. Normally, what I do, I follow back 5-6 years ago. I attended a training. The training is called situational leadership, and it's very interesting because in that training, what I learned is that we need to adapt your leadership style according to your team members' reality. As an example, we may decide to be supportive, to delegate, to coach, to direct. It all depends on your team members' level of competence, development, and commitment. So, in reality, having many people spread across different countries with different cultures and needs, we need to deal different with each of them. It's impossible to manage all of them the same way. Some of them you need to do more micromanaging because they need it. Some of them you need to give more autonomy because they have seniority enough to deal with they are challenged by themselves. So we need to adapt. So that's what I learned and what I used as a concept to manage my team. And to integrate new team members and how to make new team members feel part of a big team and a spread team. Normally, what I do is that whenever someone is joining the team, I select someone in the team to be the host, the buddy. And that person, normally I select someone based on another location. And that person is responsible for all the onboarding, access to systems, introduced to people, introduced to processes, introduced to applications. So during the first 2 months, someone else is helping new team members and integrating with the team. And that helps a lot to make the team feels one team, even spread physically across the region.
I think that's a very interesting approach, especially because you are assigning a buddy that lives in a different region as well. So the person doesn't from the beginning, the person is dealing with this multicultural, multi-background, this different cultures, right? Different cultures, to try and understand the company culture, I guess, which is the goal, right? What do you think, Joe? Do you have any insights on that?
I think it's an awesome idea, right? We like having this, but you work with offices, right? You have offices in these remote locations, right?
Yes, the people are working from offices, are working from their homes, so they're working from a specific country. Normally on a hybrid model, part time on the in the office, part time in their homes, but in different countries.
Oh, that's cool. I think it's a good idea to have this localized body, right? Where they
Yes,
can at least share.
the reason why I pick someone from another location is that, let's say that I hire someone in Mexico and I select a buddy from Mexico. It does help because they have like they're in the same country, same culture, but the intention of having someone from another location is to breaking down the silos, to make them, well, my team is diverse, my team is based in different locations. So since day one, the person will start living the reality of the team. That's why, in my opinion, it makes the total difference.
That's great. That's a great insight. Yeah. You think it would make sense for them to be in the same region, right? I guess in the short term, you have the report because you know like everything, but the important thing is the common goal of the company, I guess, and like the person to know that they are in that diverse team. So that's awesome, Alessandro. And I was talking about goals. I want to go to my next question, which is exactly about that. Working with a diverse team, working in several regions, some remotely, some in the office, etc. How do you make sure that everybody's working towards the same goal and everybody's aligned?
I think like and that's the concept of them feeling part of the team despite of the geographical location, because like if the team spirit prevails, the common goals will prevail. And I think like we need to make them interact as a team. We need to stimulate engagement, participation, and I think the key word here is collaboration. We need like to establish a very collaborative environment, and everyone needs to be part of the team and needs to participate. If you like enable collaboration, it doesn't matter where the people are located, they will collaborate and they will like move towards the same goal.
I'm curious to know, of course, this is a subject that every once in a while we will bring it up, the same way we did with the other pandemics in the past. We had the COVID-19 pandemic, and it like changed many things around the world, especially the way we work. How did you have to deal, or how did you deal with the pandemic? What kind of challenges did the pandemic brought to your day-to-day managing and to your team? And if you could give us like any example how it changed the way you work, if it did, of course.
Actually, COVID has not had like a great impact in the team. Like my team was already like distributed across the region. They're already like remote. The difference is that like the concept of remote work was not established. But for me, they were all remote, and for them, their leader was remote. So that concept of remote work was already established for that team. So I think for during COVID, the biggest challenge was like most on the personal aspect, like the effects that the pandemic itself brought, like to the people, like to their psychological side, like it affected a lot of people. But thinking about like remote work, how to manage the team, I think it did not change for our team, and only like we needed to be more careful on the personal side of like how people are dealing with like their struggles, the problems in their family. So I think like COVID brought us like a more personal side, right? We as a leaders needed to be like more personal with the team than we were before.
Yeah, that's true. I think we saw that happening in our teams also. At the beginning, there was a lot of like people uncomfortable with even us that we are a remote company, but like I remember people get really stressed about not able to leave the house, do normal things that they do, like even to walk outside the house, right?
Yeah,
People were afraid to walk outside,
buy food.
uh,
Yeah.
buy food and everything, right? If you remember of those times, like we were literally in a jail in our own homes at the beginning because we didn't know anything, and there was people dying, and then a lot of people dying, and then now people say no, nobody dies. Like, oh, are you kidding me? But yeah, the pandemic affected. I think there are some people got a little. more stressed on the calls and things like that some days. But then people get used to it.
Yeah, I think so. I felt the same way.
Do you work or do your teams work? Do you have people? I guess you mentioned they have people in the office. Some people go to the office. Other people work remotely. Is it like? Does it have like a hybrid approach? You can choose if you want to work from home or do you have to go to the office.
Most has a hybrid approach. Yeah, they are like part time in the office and part time remote.
Okay,
That's cool. That's cool.
that's cool. Yeah, and Visa is a huge company. How many employees Visa
Yeah.
has?
More than 20,000 globally. Yeah,
Wow. How many people in your team?
20.
That's a huge team as well. It's a very big team. Yeah, very big team. It's a small startup, right? Inside it. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And well, I guess you already gave us some insights, but I was going to ask you about best practices for remote management.
Yeah, I have like let's say 3 tips. One is like be present. It doesn't matter like if you are miles away. Be present. Like show to your team that you are there for them whenever they need. Be kind. Like be nice to people. People like they have needs. They have like everyone has like its own struggles. So being kind and caring is the best way for you to show as a leader to your team that you are there for them for whatever they might need, and it stimulates the collaboration that I mentioned earlier. Like collaboration, like stimulates like people's engagement and participation, and makes any team stronger.
Yeah, looking at what we do at Webera, I think we tried to do the same things here. What do you think, Rodrigo? You are the part of the team.
Yeah, I guess that's the secret, right? I have to say, like Joel and I, we end up working together a lot. So the fact that I know that I can, I'm not sucking up to my boss, okay? Just a little bit. But the fact that I can, the fact that like I can go to like Google Chat that the tool we use, and I'll message him, and I know that sometimes he is already in bed, going to sleep, and he will answer. Just be present, Alessandro. I think this is for me as a team member. What I look in my manager is to know that he will be there and I can count on him, even though it's a completely different place, like in the globe.
Yeah, and Rodrigo, the first year we at Webera we have like a quarterly game. We are putting it back, but there was a Good Samaritan job
Award?
award. Yeah, as award of Good Samaritan, and Rodrigo was the winner that year. So he's a good guy. He's don't be shy,
Yeah.
Rodrigo. He was a
I'm
good guy.
too, no, that's the thing. I'm too kind. I changed it.
Uh,
I changed. I'm corrupt. I changed.
correct.
No, we need, yeah, I changed. We need more. Like, I need to be a bad boy now. I'm a bad boy now. I'm not getting anymore.
It's a mix of both, like being like a good guy and a bad guy at the same time.
Yes, exactly. You cannot be the good cop every time. Like you have to have a little bit of balance there. But well, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that, Joe. Yeah, that was a great moment. Like last year it was great, especially to know that like to have this recognition from my peers as well. That made me very happy. Well, great, Alessandro. I was going to ask you about the like the client facing type of the game now. How to like make sure that the team is delivering a top-notch service, or I mean, to customers as well, not being there because when you are in the office, you can hear the person talking to the customer, right? But when you're not in the office, when everybody's like in their homes, or how do you make sure like that your team is delivering top-notch service?
My approach is like is normally to align with local stakeholders, because these people they're like spread like in different like locations, and they have like the local sales team, the local client facing teams, the local marketing teams, local product teams. So what I do normally is like which ones are our stakeholders, let's align and work like very closely to them in each of the locations, because like the countries have different cultures, and sometimes they have like different like goals. Some of them they have goals more like a challenging goals, and some of them do not have those challenging goals. So we need like to be aligned with like each of the locations needs, and adapting and align to their local locations. It helps like addressing all the challenge that we have. Like it's easier like to move towards our goals, and it's easier like to have better services to provide better services to our clients because we are all the same page. We know what we need to deliver. We know which number we need to reach at the end of the year because as a cross-functional work, it's not like only the client support team providing a service, like a whole bunch of people providing service to our clients. So alignment is the word here.
That's super awesome, Alessandro. Well, I cannot thank you enough for joining us today. I wanna see if you wanna like leave us with some of your thoughts as well in general about everything we talked today.
Again, talking about all the situational leader concept that I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation. I would say that to the leaders like managing diverse and multi-regional teams, be flexible, adapt to your team members' needs in reality. I think like sometimes it might be overwhelming, like because you need to adapt to deal with like people differently. But if you do that, your team will recognize that you are a good leader, and you will like explore the most of their skills, and you will like get them to develop more. I think that's key for leaders managing people spread across like locations.
That's amazing. Any insights on that as well, Joe?
I think listen to Alessandro. And,
Listen to them.
yeah, that's a good one, Alessandro. And thank you for joining us today.
I think that's the beer. The beer like a
beer.
Yeah,
it makes
it makes it flow.
Makes the words flow faster. Good. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today. And then, like we mentioned other times, we love to talk about remote work. If someone wants to join us and talk about remote work, that's one of the top subjects here on the channel because Webera started as a remote work company, and then we are trying to invite more people to talk about. Again, thank you, Alessandro, for joining today. Yes, and you, Rodrigo. Can you talk a little bit about working with us, a remote company?
I had an experience working remotely very early in my not so long career. It's been like 11 years since the first time I worked for a company that had a remote team. So for me, since the very beginning, it was normal to have my boss being overseas. In the past, in this specific experience, I was an intern and my boss was in Panama. And I was in Porto Alegre. My interview was by phone from my home. It was so weird. I remember I was shaking because so difficult for me back then I was very, very inexperienced back then, and having my first interview for my first like internship being by phone in English, a different language. It was such a great experience, and I think that this insights that Alessandro shared with us today, they make sense because whenever I needed to talk to my boss back then, she was there. I had a buddy, that it wasn't in a different region. It was in the office I was working in or working at, and it was very important to have that person to go to when I needed to understand the processes, to understand who to talk to. I think that technology and like the tools that we use, they make everything easier as well. Just having like a simple chat tool back then was IM. And like I knew that I could go there and hit like IM and ask to talk to her, and she would be there to support me. And the same today, working from home, it's stressful sometimes. I have dogs that bark, so especially when I'm recording podcast, I try to hide. But you have those tools to try and help you overcome these things from like a remote worker point of view. I 1,000,000 times would choose to have this possibility of working from home and then go into the office or to a co-work to see people, because this is a struggle that I have currently. I don't see people. I don't interact with humans anymore. So I'm trying to leave the house, go to a cafe, see people, talk to someone. This, I guess, could be the bad side of it sometimes. If you don't exercise this thing of going out, seeing people, interacting with human beings, is going to be you and that screen. Of course, the people you interact with from your work. But yeah, I guess everything that Alessandro said, if you are someone who is struggling to manage a remote team, from a remote team worker perspective, that would be a very good approach to it. Absolutely. Not that I know what I'm talking about anyway. I'm just here to drink with my boss, man. Anyway.
That's cool.
Joe, do you have any beer left? How about you, Alessandro? Do you have
no more beer?
Left? No? All right. So, Alessandro, thank you again. Thank you again, Joe. And thank you all who are listening to us again in this episode. We'll be back next week with maybe a new guest, definitely new beers, and a new topic for us to discuss over a cold one. So thank you so much, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.